Am I the a-hole for letting my daughter be hungry and not ordering for her at a fast food place? My daughter is 15 and she has social anxiety. She is in counseling for it and not meds, not needed. The rule in our household is that if you want fast food when we are out, you pay for it with your own money. If you don't have McDonald's money, you aren't going there. I also don't allow eating in the car, so we stop at places to eat. We had to go out and do some errands. I told her to grab something to eat beforehand, but she said she wasn't hungry. We go on our errands and halfway through she wants to stop by Wendy's. I pull in and tell her to go order. I will get a seat. She comes back a few minutes later and tells me she can't order. She doesn't want to talk to the cashier at the front of the store. I told her she needs to order and we will head out. She asked me to order and I told her no. We sit for about 10 minutes when I tell her it's time to go. She in short is pissed and my wife is also upset I didn't order for her. That I let her go hungry. I find this stupid. I didn't starve her for days. It was 4-hour outing. Am I the a-hole? Edit. For those asking, yes, her counselor has told us she needs to start doing this stuff on her own. This was low risk. She literally gave the example of ordering food without our help.
Edit, not the a-hole. You were on the right side of helping versus enabling, and helping versus doing it for her. In the 10 minutes you sat there, did you do anything to try to help her? Not order for her, but try rehearsing a script, talking through the process, or offering to go up with her.
Yes, I ran though what she needs to say. Did not offer to go up since her counselor told us she needs to start doing this on her own.
Then totally not the a-hole, although by going up I just meant like standing nearby, not actually ordering for her. I have seen the outcome when a kid with anxiety who is not self-motivated to improve is enabled by a parent's help, and it looks like a 35-year-old adult who can't even do their own groceries. She is old enough that she needs to learn to do things herself, and ordering fast food is a low-stakes way for her to learn that if she doesn't it herself, it won't get done. I will add that this is something you should discuss with her therapist. This situation was a failure all around, which can cause setbacks and make her feel like she can't succeed. She will have things she tries and doesn't get on the first try, but you all have to make sure that progress is still moving forward regardless. Her attempt to try is something that can be viewed positively.
Against the grain here, but not the a-hole. According the edit and comments you left, your daughter needs to start doing minimal effort activities to help with her social anxiety, and this was an example of one such activity. In addition, you tried to prepare your child beforehand by reminding her to eat and she did not. Part of raising kids in a healthy manner is teaching them the consequences of their actions in addition to preparing them for the real world. Her anxiety is manageable, but she needs to learn how to manage her on her own. You cannot hold her hand her whole life, and she will not be a functioning adult unless she learns how. That process is going to be hard. There is no two ways around it. So, it would stand to reason that the first few times she attempts to do something different than the norm she might fail, and everyone is gonna be upset at the outcome. To me, this seems like a step forward. Change is frustrating because it's not an overnight thing. It's more akin to moving the needle. Change isn't harming or hurtful, it is a stretch. You offered her options, offered to role play, and she shut that down. She's allowed to ask for your help, you're allowed to say no. You're allowed to offer help, she's allowed to say no. That's all that happened here. You and your wife need to get on board together to figure out how to handle when your daughter pushes back support she doesn't want. Work with the therapist to find tangible solutions. I see a parent who handled this reasonably.
As a kid that suffered with social anxiety, to an adult who still suffers, my parents pushed me out of my comfort zone a lot like this. Low risk, low stakes talking to strangers. This ranged from my mom always giving me the credit card to pay for our grocery shopping so I only had to answer questions like "How are you?" and cash or card, to coaching me through phone calls 15 minutes beforehand so I could book my own appointments. I am so grateful for them because they now let me live like a normal-ish adult. And yeah, I still rehearse my script 4 times before I go into any store, and yeah, on really bad days I still make my boyfriend ask for no pickles and mustard on my McDonald's burger. But I can function without someone holding my hand. I couldn't have done that without my parents pushing me at times where I just wanted to clam up. Anxiety is a bitch to all, but she does at this point need to know why you went about it the way you did and know that you are her support system. Every action needs to be justified when anxiety is involved. It's awful, but it's true. Overall, not the a-hole. but still talk to her.
Am I the a-hole for telling my brother that he has to sack his housekeeper if he won't behave professionally with her? English is not my first language, so bear with me please. My 42 female brother, 39 male, has a live-in housekeeper, Vivian. I believe the girl is 18 or 19. In our country and particularly our city, housekeepers are in very high demand, especially ones from the same region of our country as Vivian is because they have the best food in the country. My brother got divorced a year ago and got very depressed, so I advised him to hire a housekeeper to help him maintain his daily tasks. She also helps him by babysitting his 2 daughters when it is his custody time when he is at work. I went grocery shopping a few weeks ago with my brother and he picked up a box of chocolates and some flowers for Vivian. He told me that she was sick and I thought it was very sweet of him. However, my nieces, my brother's daughters, told me that their father always hits on Vivian when she is working and he buys her expensive gifts. Then yesterday, he made an offhanded comment about her body when she was bringing some food to the table when I went to his home to have lunch with him. She laughed awkwardly and excused herself. I asked him what he was doing and basically, he is attracted to her. I told him that his behavior with her was not appropriate as he is her employer and if he cannot behave, he should let her go. When he hired her, her agency said that there were many other families who wanted her because of resume, so she will not be left jobless. I told him that she deserves to have a workplace that is safe. He was very upset and said I was treating him like a creep and it wasn't my business. I left after this and he called me demanding an apology. I feel like I may have overstepped since he told me Vivian has not complained herself. I feel very bad now and I was wondering if I am the a-hole.
Not the a-hole. You did the right thing here. Vivian is young and might not be comfortable complaining to him. Just because she hasn't doesn't make his behavior appropriate, and since his daughters have also noticed it, it becomes even more of a situation.
That was what I thought. He said that she has a voice and she'll complain if she is uncomfortable, which made me rethink myself.
It's very likely that she won't. Many women in this situation suffer in silence because they can't have a gap in pay, and others just find another job and bounce. Very few speak up because they don't want escalation.
Your brother is a creep and you do not owe him an apology. If I were in your shoes, I would have a chat with Vivian and ask her about this situation. Tell her you understand from the agency that she is in high demand and ask her if your brother is making her feel uncomfortable, as the children have made a couple of comments. Your brother can always hire someone else, preferably a matronly type. Not the a-hole.
Vivian, you in danger, girl. Sit her down and tell her this. People saying, if Vivian felt uncomfortable, she would just leave. Do not get it. Vivian is a literal teenager. She may feel intimidated. She may not realize there are other potential employers. Hell, teenagers are used to obeying authority figures, and your brother is an authority figure. OP, not only are you not the a-hole, you need to sit this girl down and tell her, in no uncertain terms, that if she does feel uncomfortable around your brother, there are plenty of other opportunities for a girl like her. Frankly, it's the only decent thing to do.
I think I may do this. I helped him hire her, so I feel like it's my responsibility to speak to her in this case.
You should definitely talk to her. If she doesn't feel comfortable complaining to your brother directly as his employee, the very least she can do is complain to the agency that placed her and ask that they reassign her elsewhere. But she needs an adult to let her know it is okay to take that option, as teenagers will not typically speak up for themselves. Sorry, but your brother is a creep.
Not the a-hole. Your brother is a creep. There is a clear power imbalance in their relationship as he is her employer. Saying, oh, she hasn't complained, is disingenuous on your brother's part. A young woman from a less financially stable background is going to be worried about what happens if your brother leaves a bad review. Will people believe her, etc.? Basically, all of your initial concerns are totally valid and are already playing out. Your brother is being defensive and making you out to be the bad guy because he knows you are right and is trying to deny it to himself.
Am I the a-hole for telling all my family that if I'm babysitting there are no rules? My family tends to stick me, female 18, with my nieces and nephews when we get together. I am also the go-to for babysitting. I do not get paid for this because since my siblings watched me when I was little, I owe them. I don't really mind. I love all the kids and they are well behaved and polite. With me at least, because I don't put up with their shit. I established dominance early with all of them. I also have no shits to give when it comes to the rules regarding watching them. I would never allow them to get hurt or anything. I just won't follow a huge list of rules. If you want your kid to eat vegan, then you better bring a vegan meal for them. Otherwise, they get pizza. Or Dino nuggets. Or hot dogs. If they aren't allowed to watch woke movies or TV, then it's up to you to provide a TV and media, because I'm putting on Frozen or something. My parents keep telling me that I have to follow the rules when I'm babysitting. I just keep asking why. What's the worst anyone can do to me? Take away my free babysitting. Oh, poor me. We are in Jasper right now and it's been hot as balls. So I took the kiddos cliff jumping at Horseshoe Lake. I brought them back wet and filthy. Everyone told me that I was being a shit babysitter. I offered a full refund. Then I went and got a beer with some friends I made at the lake. I have a full scholarship. When I turned 18, I also got a small inheritance. It's enough that I won't have to work for spending money during my university years and put a down payment on a house. I'll probably leave it though. I literally do not need financial help from my family. So they have no hold over me. My sibling and I all got the exact same inheritance. Except I was only 3 when my grandmother passed away, so it's been collecting compound interest for almost 20 years. My trust fund is about 4 times what my siblings each got. My family thinks I'm being an entitled ass, but they also won't pay me. I am more than willing to follow any rule I am paid to follow.
Not the a-hole. I do not get paid for this because since my siblings watched me when I was little, I owe them. No, you don't get paid because they are entitled. They did this for your parents, not you. You owe them nothing for looking after you, on a technicality, in a sense. Nothing you have mentioned I would consider over the top, except maybe the cliff jumping depending on ages and height. Your situation with finances aside, if they want a list of rules, they can pay someone to follow them.
The cliffs start at about 3 feet. I'm not looking to get them hurt.
I am 40. Growing up, I had an aunt like you. She was 100% the cool aunt, the one I trusted most, and the one I'd have gone to if I needed anything big serious. You're awesome.
Not the a-hole. I offered a full refund, then I went and got a beer. This made me laugh my ass off. You've got everything sorted, don't actually owe them anything, but are still gracious enough to babysit because you love the kids. It's 100% on the parents to provide alternatives. Congrats on the scholarship.
Not the a-hole. If anyone owes them free babysitting, it's your parents, not you. You are 18. You don't have to babysit. You have explained your parameters for babysitting, and by dropping off their kids, they are agreeing. Reconsider underage drinking, though.
I'm an adult. 18 is the legal drinking age. If it were my thing, I could buy weed.
There are 2 kinds of help, good help and free help.
I give the kids back alive and fed. That's not bad.
I bet they consider you the cool aunt.
I'm definitely cooler than my sister.
Not the a-hole. So long as the kids are fed, safe, and restricted to age-appropriate activities, I say you're golden. They're getting the service they paid for. If they want you to bend over backwards exposing the kids to fine arts and gourmet handcrafted vegan cuisine, they better start incentivizing.
Am I the a-hole for telling my vegan sister that I will not remodel her home anymore if she doesn't serve me meat? My sister bought a home and it needs a lot of work. I told her that I would be willing to do it if she provided food and the materials. I am anemic and fainted a lot as a child. Almost all of my meals have some type of meat in them or are very heavy on protein. This is the problem. The meals my sister has been serving have left me hungry and lightheaded. The work is labor-intensive and me working in the morning to late afternoon usually makes me feel awful by the end of the day. I brought my own food one day and it wasn't an issue, so I asked her to make heavier meals that have more protein in them. It hasn't been working. Yesterday I fainted, and after I informed her that I need her to make meals with meat in them or I will not be remodeling things anymore. She thinks I am a huge jerk for asking this one here, and I am standing firm on this. I am also not willing to bring my own food since I am doing her a huge favor already to remodel her home.
Info: would you accept a compromise that she pays you instead of making the food? You're not the a-hole, but I feel there is some agreement that you guys can reach.
No, because that would be sensible, and this is Reddit.
You are the a-hole. I have chronic anemia and eat protein-heavy meals, and either this post is made up or you aren't managing a medical condition properly. If you're eating meat at supper and she's serving you iron-rich veggies and legumes at breakfast and lunch, there's no way your fainting has to do with meat, especially if paired with anything that has vitamin C. If you can't avoid passing out while doing heavy labor without having a plate of meat, you need to see a doctor because clearly something is preventing you from absorbing iron properly. Also, why can't she just pay for DoorDash? I get it that you're doing a generous favor with free labor, but requiring meat and requiring her to make the meat are two different things, and one of those is just mean.
You are the a-hole mainly because meat is not the only way to deal with anemia. Your health issue is not her responsibility. Just bring lunch, it's not that hard. She can compensate you another way. Edit: you say elsewhere that you wouldn't even accept a compromise, that she cooks or you want to be paid a professional rate. This isn't about your diet, it's about some weird grudge or something. Firm you are the a-hole. Edit 2: after looking into it, there's no way that you have the physical capacity and stamina to remodel an entire home, but missing one serving of meat makes you faint from anemia. That's how diabetes and insulin work, not anemia and iron, not protein as you keep insisting. Either your condition is so improperly managed that it wouldn't matter what your sister cooks, or this is a DAE vegan bad creative writing exercise. You are the a-hole for trolling.
You are the a-hole. You're anemic but chose to be compensated through meals from a vegan. Commenters have suggested perfectly reasonable compromises, like being reimbursed for meals of your choice, but you've refused to consider it and say, this is your hill. Either you have very poor decision-making skills, or this is some bizarre grudge against your sister.
Am I the a-hole for going to a family event that my sister was not invited to after she bailed on a funeral? My bio family really sucks. My sister and I became close to one of our friends, Beth, and her family basically adopted us. They were our rock when our lives sucked with our own parents. They helped put us through college, and I do consider them my parents. The problem started earlier this year. Beth's dad passed away, and it was a bad time for everyone. Funerals are a huge deal in their family. If you don't go to the funeral, it is considered a fuck you to the dead and the family. My sister has a fear of the dead. She refused to go to the funeral. I tried to get her to go, but she still refused. The day came and went, and they did not take it well. Beth's mom really didn't take it well, and basically banned her from her home. Her words that he gave so much to her, and she basically spat in his face by not going. Basically, everyone in the family is pissed at her. She has not been invited to the home and got kicked out when she showed up once. They have a big family reunion in July each year. We both have been going for years, but this year she did not get an invite. She called me up and asked me to not go. I told her that I plan on going even though she is not invited. We got into an argument and she thinks I am a huge jerk for going, and I pointed out that she knew they would not take it well that she didn't go to the funeral.
Not the a-hole. No one likes going to funerals, but given how much Beth's dad did for you and your sister, I agree with Beth's family. It was the bare minimum she could have done as a final sign of respect, and she bailed. She can now deal with the consequences of her actions.
Agreed. No one likes going to funerals. But you can still show up even for a short period to pay your respects. My cousin hates funerals since she lost her daughter. She still comes, hangs at the back of the room or mainly in the hallways. Everyone gets it but also appreciates that she made an effort. It's not your responsibility to fix your sister's mistake.
Info: was there a way to compromise? Did your sister have an opportunity to come pay her respects after the funeral was over? Because I have a crippling fear of death and funerals, but I would be the first waiting at the door of the house to comfort and pay my respects to the living afterwards.
She didn't show up at all, not even a text, because people were calling her.
In that case, not the a-hole. I'd feel differently if she tried to compromise by arriving right after the funeral and been kicked out then, but not even a call on the day. Yikes.
Not the a-hole, this seems very preventable. Hey, your sister, prior to the funeral, going to the family and talking to them about this. Your sister fucked up and apparently burnt a bridge. That sucks. But she should have been an adult and at the very least came and talked to them. Had they stiff-armed her and didn't bother to listen, well, that would be a different story. Given the level of compassion they showed for taking the both of you in, I'd given decent enough odds they would have understood and been able to talk through it. As it stands, she did nothing, and they correctly see that she did nothing. She doesn't want to stand alone, but that has nothing to do with you. You're in a tough position, but it would have been insulting had you not.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.